Hello, I'm Lucy and I paint with beads. And today I'm actually going to be doing some beading, and I thought I would just sit and chat and bead at the same time and talk about a few things which might be interesting. So last night we saw a film called The Professor and the Madman, and we were lost to know what to watch, so we picked this film and we were pleasantly surprised. And it's based on a true life story, and when they say true life, of course, that means it's a true story. It's not fiction. And in the story, somebody called Professor James Murray starts out, or is employed, to create and edit the first Oxford English Dictionary. Now, quite a few people had tried before he tried, and had given up because it turned out to be so difficult. Imagine such a crazy thing to do. Anyway, I suppose you could say he sorted out, or he instigated the first crowdsourcing initiative that I'm aware of anyway, when he asked the general public to supply definitions and origins of words in English. Now, he didn't get too far with this. I don't think there were many takers, according to the film at least. But then we cut to somebody called Dr. William Minor, and he was an unfortunate individual who, by reasons of insanity, ended up in Broadmoor Hospital. He had inadvertently shot and killed somebody, and he was thought to be insane. Now, it happened that this guy in the hospital heard about this initiative for the Oxford English Dictionary, and he too was somebody who was incredibly intelligent, incredibly knowledgeable, and he started sending in his own notes and definitions, etc. And over that time, an unlikely friendship occurred, and he sent in more than 10,000 words with their definitions and origins, which is a phenomenal amount. And it's such a coincidence, you know, how did these things all happen and come together? Well, it is kind of truly amazing. Anyway, I think it was a great film. Really a few twists and turns at the end. The only thing that was lacking a little bit was the editing. The editing could have been better. I mean, there was a scene where the time was supposed to elapse really quickly, and I actually thought when I saw it that the film had gone wrong. Something had gone wrong with the TV or the download. It was that bit, you know, some of the editing was a bit clumsy, and I could have done it better myself. Perhaps they didn't have the material to deal with that, but there are other ways of showing time elapsing. And I think what was worse about that time elapsing was that Professor James Murray, the guy who was editing the dictionary, during that time his wife died, so it was kind of almost glossed over in a sense that there were, you know, what was the impact on him, how did it affect him. And actually the two of them and the whole family actually gave things up and you know, had to work for that common cause. They had sacrifices. They all made sacrifices. They had to move from a lovely home, and he spent most of, it seems from the film, spent a lot of his time ensconced in his work. So that was a bit clumsy, but nonetheless it was a film I would highly recommend. And it kind of shows if you are passionate and really want to do something, then you can do it. You can do it. But without giving the game away of the film, it really showed that, you know, there was some challenges there, and he was nearly taken off the case, as it were. And there is a link there with good luck, knowing the right people and having supporters to help you in any endeavour. You always inevitably need that. So there was some good modern day analogies with it. And talking of supporters, I want to thank everybody who's been following and been subscribing and sharing, that's wonderful. If you haven't already, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, which is in the description below. We also have a newsletter, so you can subscribe to that if you'd like. Just goes out a few times a year, and that's in the description below as well. And talk to us on the community channel. Let us know what you think. Ask us some questions about art and beading and science, all sorts of things. And of course, you can email us on information@sciarts.co.uk. So I'm Lucy. I'm a fine art beader, and I paint with beads.